Olá! Estamos dando início a mais um bate-papo do Movimento Solidário Empresarial. A Itália é um país que trouxe uma influência muito forte para o Brasil. Existem milhões e milhões de brasileiros que são descendentes de italianos. E nesse período de pandemia, a Itália foi um dos países mais atingidos, logo depois da China. Milhares de pessoas tiveram a doença e milhares de pessoas morreram. Nós vamos conversar neste momento com o professor Lorenzo Vasile, que é da Universidade de Turim, norte da Itália, uma das regiões mais atingidas por todo este processo da pandemia. Para conversar junto comigo com o professor Vasile, está aqui Lessandra Fraga, consultora de imagem, Ana Paula Rodrigues Bohn, do Instituto Florescer. Tudo bem, Lessandra?
Tudo bom, Rogério? Vou me apresentar rapidamente. Sou Lessandra Fraga, sou empreendedora, consultora de imagem com foco em gestão e estratégia de imagem profissional, coordenadora do Comitê de Capacitação Empreendedora da BPW Brasil. Falando rapidamente do movimento, o Movimento Solidário Empresarial é um espaço para a gente conversar, para a gente trazer pessoas de várias regiões, de vários países, para a gente co-criar as possibilidades que teremos daqui para frente pós-pandemia. Estamos vivendo um momento inusitado e nada melhor que ouvir, né, e ver outras possibilidades de outros locais, de outras regiões. Junto com a Ana Paula, com o Rogério, estamos aqui nesse espaço para co-criar e sair melhor, né, deste momento que estamos vivendo. Passo para a Ana.
Gratidão, Lessandra. Eu sou Ana Paula Rodrigues Bohn, sou fundadora do Instituto Florescer, trabalho com desenvolvimento de pessoas por meio de cursos, palestras, workshops, treinamentos, sou consultora empresarial e escritora. Faço parte desse movimento que tem por objetivo integrar, apoiar, compartilhar conhecimentos. E nós estamos fazendo convite para vários profissionais de diversas áreas e de diversos países, porque neste momento a gente conseguiu perceber qual a importância do cenário mundial dentro da nossa atividade econômica e dentro das nossas vidas. Rogério?
Eu sou Rogério Bohn, professor de graduação e pós-graduação, sou palestrante na área de inovação, na área de empresas familiares. Tenho 7 livros editados que tratam do tema de gestão e de pessoas. Sou consultor, há mais de 25 anos eu fundei a Tempos Consultoria e sou conselheiro do Conselho Federal de Administração. Com o professor Vasile a gente vai conversar em inglês, porque o professor ele fala italiano, a gente fala português, mas nós não falamos italiano e ele não fala português. Felizmente a gente tem o idioma inglês que vai nos ajudar a conduzir essa conversa. Professor Lorenzo Vasile, I'm very happy to meet you again. We've met for the first time during the organization of the Congress during, I don't remember, 2011, 2012 at University of Turin, the International Forum of Administration, and you was involved in the organization for the university. I was involved with Brazil, and we've met there. I'm very happy to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you, Rogério. Thank you for inviting me. I'm really glad to be here with you. Thank you. Thank you.
Professor Vasile, we have a very strange moment, very complex moment for mankind. We are experiencing the same problem all over the world. And we know that everything that happened in Italy, probably in a few weeks or in a few months, will happen here also in Brazil. After the start of the COVID problem in China, the second country that was most affected was exactly Italy, and especially the north of Italy. Could you please tell us a bit about the impacts of the crisis in the citizens and the economy and the life of Italy, in your life, in the university, please?
Yes, as you told, I'm from Torino, north of Italy, and I work in the university. In fact, I'm a teaching manager in the Department of Management, and I coordinate the international courses offered by our department, in particular the undergraduate international degree in business and management and an international MBA. About 30% of our students come from all over the world, as well as the teachers involved in our courses. You know, we are living in very unusual time right now. It doesn't matter where you are from. We are, as you told, we are all experiencing the same situation, maybe with a different approach to the lockdown and quarantine. In Italy, for example, we have experienced the lockdown and quarantine in a different way from people from other areas of the world. We didn't have the advantage to be able to see what was happening before it got to us. In fact, as you told, Italy has been among the first countries interested by COVID-19 after China. I think that Italians, generally, we are pretty easygoing people. We don't take each other or the government or anything too seriously, which is a good thing and can be a bad thing. But I really think that Italians have responded so well and so quickly to this problem. The ongoing pandemic was first confirmed to have spread to Italy on the end of January. Particularly on January 31st, the Italian government suspended all flights to and from China and declared the state of emergency. Then, in February, some municipalities in northern Italy were identified as the centers of the two main Italian clusters and were placed under quarantine. At the same time, schools and universities were closed. This is beginning of February. Meanwhile, Italy set up enhanced screening measures at airports, including thermal cameras, medical staff. And starting from March, the whole country was put under lockdown. That means more than 60 million people in quarantine, and nearly all commercial activity, except for supermarkets and pharmacies, were closed. At the end of the month, the Italian government also closed all non-essential businesses and industries, and also restricted movement of people in a sort of total lockdown. However, many companies continued their activities by allowing employees to work from home. Now we are in so-called phase 2. So movement across regions are still forbidden, but we are allowed to go out in groups of 2 maximum, and it's strictly forbidden any form of assemblage. The plan allowed the reopening of manufacturing industries and construction sites, then bars, restaurants, and hairdressers, and so on. However, schools and universities stay closed. So,
Lorenzo,
yeah.
what about the question of the small business and family business? Because I work supporting as a consultant family business, and especially medium-sized and small-sized companies. We know that in Italy, it's a country with a very big number of small companies and family companies. How was the impact especially in your region in this business?
Well, from an economic point of view, the pandemic provoked large economic damage to the whole Italian economy. Sectors like tourism accommodation, food services were among the hardest hit by the foreign countries' limitations to travel to Italy and by nationwide lockdown. I think that economic turmoil associated with this pandemic has had a wide-ranging and severe impact on financial markets, including stock, bond, and commodity markets. Anyway, a lot of Italian small and medium-sized enterprises partially or totally converted their production to supply personal protective equipment on local scale. That means masks, textiles, alcohol-based sanitizers, filters, valves for respirators, spare parts in general for hospital machines. I think it's really interesting to think how some businesses or some industries are able to really quickly adapt to a situation like this. Looking more in depth on local economy, people in general in Italy are using local providers more. All the local farm shops are noticing booming trade, and they are doing. You can phone them. You can just say what you want. They pack a box and pass it over to you. Local butchers are doing deliveries, and all of these kind of services, service providers that were overlooked before. So local businesses, especially food businesses, have gained in popularity because that is true. People want to avoid going to stores, and it may be more convenient to get something. For example, there are also interesting and fun initiatives. I was just reading this morning on the newspaper that now you can adopt a cow. You pay a farmer. Yeah, adopt a cow. You pay a farmer for a long distance adoption, and you can receive milk and cheese directly from your personal cow. That's funny, but it's interesting. It's interesting because it's like community-supported agriculture programs. You sign up for a membership and you get like a weekly box of vegetables directly from the farm. This is helping a lot for local economy. And I'm really glad that people are going back and are happy to pay a little bit more for something that is more local and kind of a meat that's being responsibly produced as well. I like that. So I see that is important to note this point.
And what about the university? How it affected the classes? How affected your classes, and how the university has managed to continue teaching, especially during this period?
Let me start with my administrative work. I usually meet a lot of people, students, teachers, but really not a lot has changed with me in terms of work because, well, now that I work remotely, I still do a lot of meetings every day using digital tools and platforms like Skype, Cisco WebEx, Hangout, Google Meets, and so on. The time management is far better than before because I cut down on traveling times. Every morning I can remotely meet my whole team, so it hasn't changed the way, well, it hasn't changed how I do things really, but it has changed the way I support the people I work with. In our job in the university, we've done a lot to change the way that we deliver things. We deliver lessons, we deliver content to support all of our students. Our students that are now at home with lots more time and able to connect more than previously. I think that, that's a really exciting opportunity for them. The internet is really a great way to be able to feel free time, and you can feel it positively with education. So I think that one of the most exciting changes is in general what's happening in our workforce, and the way that people are having to very quickly learn how to work from home, how to work remotely when their team is not around them. For lots of businesses, lots of industries, that's really challenging, and also that's quite hard to do. But for many, I think it was almost like a stubbornness by lots of very traditional companies who didn't believe that they could trust their staff, or that it was possible for everyone to be as productive and as effective at home. So I think it's really exciting that we've been forced into this situation where everyone has been put to the test. In particular, universities, I was telling you before, suspended all activities from February 23rd. It's 3 months now, and we are preparing in many ways for this to be extended over the long term. In Turin, there are over 33,000 off-site students. More than 1 in 10 are foreigners, and many of these come through the Erasmus program. The students that Turin is able to attract represent every year 4% of the city's population. If you want to make a rough calculation, altogether are worth 1% of GDP of Turin. So gross domestic product is not a little number. From the real estate market to bars, restaurants, passing through bookstores, many businesses will suffer the consequences of an extended university lockdown. A few hours ago, I was in a meeting with the head of our department, and we were planning next year classes in distance learning. Next academic year, that means until summer 2021. We are going on with distance learning. But overall, what surprised me is that how good it has been with the limited time that we had. The kind of resources we are getting from the schools, they've been excellent. I've been surprised at how well it worked. Students are engaged, even though it's just a screen. Let me say, usually teachers do lectures on a grid, and they can see every student. the benefit of this from a teacher point of view is that you can mute everybody. An example, I was doing an exam this morning and I had a small virtual classroom, just 25 students, and they were on a grid, all of them in front of me, camera and microphones switched on, and you weren't able to feel a fly. So that's not obvious in presence. Even during a written test, you can see face-to-face all your students. It's a huge difference. I see it's a positive difference from my point of view.
We have to see the good side of the things in moments like this. And maybe it's this transformation that is happening right now in education will lead to new forms, to better learning. We don't know. But let me invite Ana Paula for this conversation.
Thank you, Rogério. Teacher Lorenzo, you told us about the changing quickly the people in the business changing your way makes business and things. What you think about the quality in education? Do you think that a quality in education to help to live in crazy situation more quickly?
Well, this is interesting. I think that the impact. Well, education is part of students' life. Okay, and we can. I think that there is a big social impact from educators, let me say schools, universities, and they are filling the free time of students. So the fact that I'm thinking on the lockdown period, we had a couple of months during these months, nobody had the opportunity to get out from their houses. So the presence, the fact that lectures continued and give it a time, give it sort of a routine, continuing routine to students was also helping them not to think too much to the problems outside. So just to focus on their future. I see that maybe it's not so easy during crisis times, during bad times. We can say that we are living bad times. It's not so easy to think about our future, but maybe this is also one way, and this is also our way to help. What is truly important at this time of crisis, urgent indeed, is to help an entire generation of students from the most significant risk educational opportunity has experienced it in their lives and in the lives of their parents and the grandparents and so on. This is really a time to stand up for and with the children and young people.
Thank you.
I'm not sure that I answered your question, but
yes. Education is part. all process, just only education. Thank you.
Lessandra, gostaria de fazer uma pergunta?
Thank you. Lorenzo, in European universities, is there business education?
What do you mean with business education?
Maybe classes in field of business.
Business,
Okay. Well, I belong to the Department of Management, and our classes are business classes. So for sure, we are focused on businesses. I don't know. We are not changing our programs. In fact, we are just switching our offer on a sort of blended program. For example, we are going to, for sure, we are going to continue delivering classes online, but at the same time, I think when time will give us the opportunity to meet students, we'll start with small classes meetings, maybe for case studies and so on. In Europe, it's going to change I think, the internationalization. We are used to give our students the opportunity to travel, also for study travels, and we have a lot of agreements with foreign countries and foreign universities to host foreign students and to send our students abroad. We are experiencing online exchange. So we are ready next year to host in our online classes some foreign students, and the same for our students. I think that the opportunity that cultural change that is obvious when you travel will not be the same, but we hope that in not so long time we can start again to travel and to let our students travel.
Ana Paula.
Teacher, you told us that the situation in Italy is more is better than when to start in January. Do you think the Italy government are stirring ways if to happen in next crisis situation, one prevent preparation for no to happen again other crises in this all the world, and what means the government Italy is studying. Do you know about this?
Well, I can say that we are working as a university. We are working in consideration of every scenario. So we experienced something that we didn't know, and we can even imagine just 4 months ago. And now we are changing our mind, And of course, we are always planning with a direction and with a plan B, plan C, plan D. I think the same can be extended to the whole country, to all businesses and also the government. They are really doing a lot on an economic point of view. So they are sustaining and supporting. Our government is supporting the Italian economy by allocating funds for companies, entrepreneurs, self-employed, and in order to finance these measures, they launched the retail bonds for coronavirus funding. They had a huge contribution from Italian savings. And in addition, this is in addition to the European Union funds. So economically, they are for sure they're putting a lot of money, just giving an important monetary policy, and at the same time, politically, they are looking at different scenarios. Now, starting from June, the plan is to open not only regions but Italy, just to let tourists, foreign people, and come in Italy. That means that we can see that the pandemic is quite over. At the same time, I'm sure, I think that in the future it will be a little different than before. So maybe it will take a while to get back to where we were, or maybe people will be a little bit more hesitant to go out or to do things in large groups, or too close together to other people. But I think that the virus is here to stay. So it's going to probably come back again in the winter, and it might mutate. So we are just going to have to deal with this. I have a hard time believing that they'll be able to get rid of it anytime soon. It will be more akin to like the flu, the influenza, or even the common cold, but just more serious. I don't know. I kind of hope. I'm hoping that people start living a little more regularly, but I don't think that's completely possible. I think that the government is and everybody is thinking that maybe we are ready. Now we are ready. We've seen that we can change, and we can change in very short time. Now we know, and we are ready. So the same applies to people, applies to companies, applies to the government.
Professor Vasile, you said something in the beginning of our conversation that reminds me that during this Congress that we organized together, there was a lecture of Mr. Domenico De Masi, and he talked about the creative leisure, ócio criativo. And you said in your...
Stop the Move.
Internet travou dele.
Well, come back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, technology.
Come back.
In the beginning of our conversation, that people that have more time free should use it to learn something, to enjoy doing not only good things, stay in front of television watching series or reading books, novels, but maybe it's time to learn something new. Please tell me something more about it.
Well, I can say to you how in this context, what is the impact in my routine? Because in these days I've been spending a lot of time cooking or doing things alone at home, which I normally don't do that much. So I've been taking advantage of cooking in the kitchen and on meals and that kind of things. And this is just not to only to me. This is I can hear from everybody that they are enjoying their free time at home. I see that there is there is a change also in habits and in routines. An example, I never ever go to the supermarket because I have shopping delivery, and but I have a story to tell to you because after the emergency started, I was in a queue online on a supermarket website. So I tried to go on to edit an order that I've made. And I was something like number 10,000 or 12,000 in a queue to get onto the website. So it was overloaded. And then the orders that we made didn't arrive. There were a couple of weeks in waiting list. The same happened also in front of physical supermarkets. But now, luckily, the situation is regular. I think that anyway, if you go to the supermarket outside, there is still a huge queue of people. They are 2 meters apart and it looks really low, but actually it's because it's so spaced out. So it goes down quite quickly, and and they're doing it because there is a limited amount of people allowed in the shop at each time. Then again, when you go to the store or other public places, people are wearing a mask, are wearing masks and gloves. And it's funny because masks aren't part of our culture. I know that in some countries, especially in Asia, I've recently been in China, and that's wearing a mask. It's quite normal, yeah. But this is not part of our culture. This fact, in fact, people, we are changing our habits. I think that this has to do with like the social side of things. And also, I guess, just slowing things down a little. This is the part. Before all of this happened, I was working hours and hours and hours and hours a day, rushing around, then trying to go out and meet friends and do this and go there and buy this and all of these things. And I was constantly running around and rushing and trying to make all of these things to fit into limited number of hours I had in my day. What I really appreciated now is just the opportunity to slow that down and to do some to do more things that are just for me, or just focusing on me a little bit. More sleep or a little bit more exercise. Like I said, I'm doing a bit more cooking. And before it was like, I'm too busy for that. Now I'm enjoying that as well. So I'm thinking carefully about what parts of this experience now I have wanted to try and take back into the new normal, once all of this is over. I see that it's a very idealistic way of looking at our current situation, but I'm always trying to think more positively of that. I think this also applies to all of us. I hope.
Right. Professor Vasile, it's very good to be with you in this conversation, but the time is running out, and we make the last round of comments from Ana Paula and Lessandra, and then I'll get back to you. So you leave the final message of this conversation to the people that are listening to us and watching us on the channel, okay? Ana Paula, então, uma mensagem final.
Obrigada, Rogério. Teacher Lorenzo, thank you so much for accepting the invite and for all things you told us in these moments. I bought the Coliseo when I went to Italy. I love Italy, and I hope that we can go to Italy soon. And in this very situation, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Lessandra.
Lorenzo, thank you. Very good to hear. Hablas italiano. I love Italy. Como é que eu digo para ele que eu sou descendente de italiano? Rogério, me ajuda.
The grandparents and her heritage is from Italy. Lessandra's heritage is from
Italy.
I love you.
Allora possiamo parlare italiano.
I love you. Palavra italiana. Salute. Grazie.
Ciao, grazie.
Obrigada. Thank
Professor Lorenzo Vasile, teacher of the University of Turim in the north of Italy, one of the regions most affected during the pandemic crisis. For the people that are listening to us at Spotify, Anchor, and watching us in YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, what message would you leave for these people?
Well, at the end, socially, things have changed a lot. Environmentally, things are changing a lot. Politically, obviously, all of these things, economically, and I think really, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity for us to try something different. You are forced into something different. Everyone around the world is doing it. But the really most interesting part, I think, is being able to think about what we take back to normal after this is finished, after the pandemic is over. after they find a vaccine, and the fear and the stress and the worry reduces a little. But there are so many different things that I'm constantly thinking I caught like this aspect or of this new life that we have. So how can I take that back into what I was doing? This is the question. That's a good question, and this is the question that I give also to you. And thank you, Rogério. Thank you, Lessandra. Grazie, Anna Paula. I really enjoyed this time with you. Bye-bye, stay safe. I think this is a good wish at the end of this conversation. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Muito obrigado, professor Lorenzo Vasile, da Universidade de Turim. Obrigado, Ana Paula. Obrigado, Lessandra. And here in Brazil, we would say, tchau, professor.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao, ciao. Waiting
Ciao,
for
ciao.
you in Italy. Waiting for you in Italy. Okay?
Okay. We'll be there soon.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you.